The judge looked bored. My ex-wife's lawyer was already grinning before he even opened his mouth. "Enjoy your new life," he chuckled. "You'll be leaving with nothing." Then came her voice, so smug, so full of herself. "You should have been a better husband." She smirked without even looking at me. That's when the judge turned to me and asked if I had any final words. I smiled. A calm, slow kind of smile. "Actually, yes," I said. "I'd like to submit this as evidence." Her face twisted, just slightly. Then she saw the document I handed the bailiff. By the time the judge started reading it out loud, her skin had turned a shade of pale I'd never seen on her before. "Let me take you back to how we got here. I used to think the devil came in red, with horns and a tail. I didn't know she could wear yoga pants, drive a white Mercedes, and drink green smoothies every morning. Her name is Haley, my wife. Or, she used to be. We were married for 7 years. No kids. She said she wasn't ready, and I respected that. I loved her. Deeply. Dumbly. At first, it was little things. Subtle changes. She started wearing perfume to girls' night. She used to throw on a hoodie and be out the door in 5 minutes. Suddenly, she spent an hour doing her makeup for a supposed dinner with Jessica and Amanda. Then, there was the phone, always face down. Notifications hidden. Privacy, she said. Everyone deserves some. I wanted to believe her. God, I wanted to believe her. One night, she came home at 2:30 a.m., hair messed up, lips swollen, and stumbling in heels she never wore for me anymore. I sat in the dark, waiting. She flicked on the lights and froze like a deer in headlights. "Oh, hey," she said, voice too casual. "Didn't expect you to wait up. Where have you been, Haley?" She tossed her purse on the counter. "Out. With the girls. I told you. You told me you'd be back by 11. She shrugged. "We went dancing." "Chill out." I stood up. "Let me see your phone." That's when the mask cracked. Her smile disappeared. "What? You heard me." She laughed, fake and loud. "You don't trust me?" "No," I said. "Not anymore." She stormed off into the bedroom, slammed the door. I didn't follow. Not then. I just sat back down and stared at the empty wine glass she left on the table. That night, I didn't sleep. Instead, I did what any broken man with too much suspicion and too much time would do. I hacked into her cloud. Took me hours. But when I got in, it was like being stabbed in the gut with a frozen blade. Photos. Videos. Voice messages. One of them said, "He's such a bore. I fake it every time. But you? You know what you're doing." Another said, "He still thinks I'm working late." Per guy. And the pictures. Jesus. Her with some guy, Jake, as I'd come to learn. Tall, gym body, tattoo on his neck. In hotels. In his car. In our house. On our goddamn bed. The worst part? Her smile. The same smile she used to give me when we first met. Like he was her whole world. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I copied everything. Put it in a folder. Dated and sorted. The next morning, she made pancakes. Hummed like nothing had happened. Kissed me on the cheek. I let her. You ever felt your soul rot from the inside while smiling? I played the part for 2 more weeks. Acted normal. Meanwhile, I hired a PI to get more dirt. Found Jake's full name. Even got into her private IG where she posted things just for him. "Miss you already face-blowing kiss," one post said, 2 days after our anniversary. She was a monster wearing human skin. And I was done being her puppet. I started preparing. Carefully. Silently. Took copies of everything. Transferred funds. Got a lawyer. I was going to let her think she won. Until the final moment. And that moment came in court, when she thought I was crushed. She wore a red blazer like it was a victory lap. I saw her winking at Jake from across the room. He was sitting there, smug like he'd just won the jackpot. That's when the judge said, "Any final words?" And I said, "Actually, yes. I'd like to submit this as evidence." The judge adjusted his glasses and took the envelope from the bailiff. Haley still looked cocky, like she thought this was some last-ditch plea for sympathy. She didn't know what was inside. Not yet. But when the judge pulled out the papers and started reading silently, his eyes widened, just a little. That's when I saw her smirk begin to twitch. Then he spoke. "Mrs. Carter, do you recognize this?" he asked, holding up a printed screenshot. She squinted at it. "What is that?" "A text message," the judge said. "From your private Instagram to a man named Jake Bell. Dated June 5th. I can't believe he still doesn't know. I wore your favorite lingerie in his bed tonight. He thinks he got lucky." The room went still. I watched the blood drain from her face. Jake stiffened in his seat. My lawyer leaned back and smiled like he was watching a fireworks show. Haley tried to laugh it off. That's taken out of context. The judge flipped the page. This one is dated August 22nd. He kissed me goodnight and went to bed early. I told him I had work, but I went straight to you. He's such a loser, Jake. I don't know how I've lived with him this long. She didn't laugh this time. The judge kept going. Emails, pictures, hotel receipts, geotags, a full goddamn dossier of betrayal. And then he found the video. The one where she walked through our front door, holding Jake's hand, both of them laughing while I was at my father's funeral in another state. They toasted wine in my kitchen. He picked her up and threw her on our couch. The judge didn't play it, but he described enough for the courtroom to go silent. I think that's sufficient, he finally said, closing the folder. Mrs. Carter, it appears you've been less than honest. Mr. Carter, do you wish to amend your divorce claim based on this new evidence? My voice was calm, measured. Yes, Your Honor. I'd like to file for full financial compensation, retaining the house, and refusal of alimony based on spousal misconduct. Haley exploded. What? That's not fair. This isn't. This doesn't mean anything. We were already falling apart. Her lawyer tried to quiet her, but she was on fire now, the true version of herself burning through. You were boring, Matthew. You never made me feel alive. All you did was work and whine and act like a victim. I needed something real. Something that didn't suck the life out of me. Jake stood up, but two security guards moved toward him. He sat back down. I'm not leaving without what I deserve, Haley hissed. The judge raised an eyebrow. According to this evidence, you deserve nothing. And that was that. The gavel dropped, and just like that, it was over. Or so I thought. But life doesn't just end clean. Not when a woman like Haley is involved. She followed me out of the courthouse, screaming, You set me up. You sneaky little bastard. You were playing the victim the whole time, but you were watching me. I turned slowly. No, Haley. I was surviving you. You'll regret this, she snarled. I didn't answer. I walked away, down the courthouse steps, past Jake's confused face, past her broken ego, and into the open air like I was finally breathing again. But that was just the beginning. 3 nights later, I got a call from my bank. Mr. Carter, we've detected an attempt to access your joint savings account. It was flagged as suspicious since the joint status was recently removed. I froze. Did you catch who? We have a video. Female, blonde, red blazer. Used a fake ID. Of course she did. I filed a report immediately. Then came the call from my office. Matt, there's a woman here asking questions about your clients. Claims she's your assistant. Says she left her badge at home. She was unraveling. Fast. But even I didn't expect what happened next. The knock on my apartment door came at 1:13 a.m. I looked through the peephole. Haley. No makeup. Hair wild. Eyes bloodshot. She was swaying, half drunk or maybe worse. I opened the door halfway. Go home. You can't just end us like this, she slurred. We had a life, Matt. Years. You don't just delete that. You did, I said. She lunged forward, trying to push in. I blocked her with my shoulder. I still love you, she whispered. I laughed. Honest. Bitter? No, Haley. You just hate losing. Then I shut the door in her face. But I had no idea what she would do next, and how far she'd go to take everything down with her. The next morning, I found my car keyed from bumper to bumper. Words scratched into the pane and furious, shaking letters, liar, traitor, coward. A smashed wine bottle sat in the driveway, with red glass scattered like blood in the sunlight. I didn't even call the cops. I knew it was her. I also knew it wouldn't be the last time. 2 nights later, I caught Jake creeping around my apartment building. Hoodie up, pacing near the side entrance. I didn't confront him. I didn't need to. I just snapped a photo, called a contact at the station, and let it be known I had eyes everywhere now. I wasn't the same man she'd humiliated. I'd grown teeth. But deep down, I was still bleeding. You think that once you have proof, once the lies are exposed, that somehow the pain will leave. That justice will fill the holes. But it doesn't. Proof is for the outside world. Inside, your heart still replays every smile, every fake, I love you. Every night she climbed into bed and said she was tired, while she'd just come back from being with someone else. I remember the night before our 5th anniversary, she came home late. I'd made her dinner. Steak, her favorite. Candlelight. She walked in, glanced at the setup, and said, Oh, we're doing this tonight? Then she kissed me on the forehead and said she was too tired to eat. She said she had cramps. That same night, I found out later, She was with him. At a cheap motel off the freeway. I even found the receipt. She left it in her jacket. I remember the date printed clearly, one day before our anniversary. She didn't care. That's the part that guts you. It's not just the betrayal. It's the apathy. The cold, blank disregard for everything you were together. Like it meant nothing. A week after the court hearing, I went to grab my things from the old house. It was legally mine now, but I hadn't moved in yet. I parked, walked up the steps, and froze. The front door was wide open. Inside, the living room was trashed. Couch cushions slashed. My wedding photo cracked and face down on the floor. The smell of something rotten in the kitchen. She'd broken in. Probably the same night she'd come to my apartment. There was a note on the dining table, written in red marker, like some lunatic. I made you. You were nothing before me. You'll be nothing after me. You took everything. I'll take it back. I filed a restraining order the next day. The cops said there wasn't enough to arrest her yet. You need real evidence. Video, witness, physical harm, the officer said, sounding exhausted, like he'd seen this story 100 times. I started checking my locks 3 times a night. But even with all the chaos, the lies, the threats, a part of me still felt empty. Like some twisted part of me missed the version of her that once held my hand in the rain. The one who cried at movies and danced in the kitchen at 2 a.m. when we still believed in forever. I don't think she ever existed. One evening, I got a call from Amanda, one of Haley's old friends. We hadn't spoken since before the divorce. I almost didn't pick up, but I did. Matt. I don't know if I should be telling you this, she said. What's going on? Haley, she's been telling everyone that you hit her. I felt my stomach drop. What? She told Jake. Her mom. A couple of people from the gym. Said you were violent. That's why she had to cheat. I went silent. She's unhinged, Matt. I think she's trying to ruin your life now that she couldn't get your money. I thanked her, hung up, and sat on my floor for over an hour. Just breathing. Thinking. This wasn't over. She wasn't going to let me walk away clean. Not because she loved me, but because she couldn't stand the thought of me surviving without her. So I made another call. This time to a guy named Travis. Old buddy from college. Used to work cybercrime before going private. I told him everything. Every message. Every threat. Every moment. He said, send me everything. If she so much as posts a photo of your house, we'll bury her in digital evidence. That night, I got an alert. A new Instagram account. Username at Hale's Revenge. One photo. My face. Caption. He hurt me. Don't trust this man. It had 10 likes in 10 minutes. I screenshotted it. Sent it to Travis. The game had changed. She was no longer just the cheating wife. She was becoming a public executioner. But she underestimated one thing. I'd already lost everything. And now, I had nothing left to lose. Travis didn't waste time. By morning, he tracked the account's origin to her mother's Wi-Fi network. Amateurs never learn. He laughed through the phone. She's sloppy, Matt. Too emotional. That's good for us. He compiled a file in less than 24 hours. IP logs, timestamps, screenshots, metadata from her photos. The caption smear post? Uploaded 5 minutes after she left a comment on Jake's gym selfie from the same location. Stupid and reckless. I forwarded the whole package to my lawyer, who filed for defamation the next day. The post vanished within hours, but the damage was done. A few old friends had seen it. My boss got wind of it. HR scheduled a check-in meeting. Even though they didn't say it directly, I could feel the shift in how people looked at me, as if the smoke alone was reason enough to question me. I'd always been the calm one, the nice guy. Now suddenly, I was walking through fog, trying to clear a name that never should have been stained. She wasn't just trying to ruin me, she wanted to make sure that if I left her, no one would want what was left. Then came the letter. Not an email. Not a text. A real letter. Slid under my apartment door like a scene out of a bad thriller. No return address. Her handwriting. Matt. You can win the court. You can win your stupid house. But you won't win peace. You think I was the monster? You think you were some perfect little angel? You neglected me. You made me feel invisible. You buried yourself in work. You never made me feel wanted. Jake did. He made me feel like a woman. So I made you feel like nothing. That was fair. That was balance. You'll never forget me. I'll make sure of it. H. I read it once. Then again. Then I lit it on fire over the sink. She was unraveling. But that only made her more dangerous. I changed my locks again. Got a camera installed at the front door, 2 more at the garage. Moved my spare cash out of the bank. Made copies of all the files Travis sent me and left one with a buddy across town. I was no longer just reacting. I was building armor. Still, the emotional toll was eating me alive. I'd wake up some nights gasping, heart racing, thinking I saw her in the room. Shadows on the wall looked like her silhouette. I kept replaying it all, how we met, how we danced on our balcony at 3 a.m., how she kissed me and whispered, "Promise me you'll never stop choosing me," and how she ended up choosing a man who sent her gym selfies and drove a leased Mustang. I'd never forget the night I caught her smiling at her phone, then quickly locking it when I walked in. "What was that?" I asked casually. She smiled. Too wide. Nothing. But I knew. That smile wasn't mine anymore. It's funny how a person can still be sleeping next to you every night, but the warmth is gone. The laughter gone. The intimacy gone. You're just sharing air. Like strangers who happen to have the same pillows. A week passed with no word. Then Travis called again. "You might want to see this." He sent me a link. A private Discord server. Password protected. Haley had shared the invite with some of her friends, but one of them, another messy ex-friend she'd burned, leaked it. Inside the server were dozens of messages. Haley ranting. Sharing pictures of me. Calling me abusive, weak, pathetic. A full campaign to make sure anyone in her circle who still talked to me would see me as the villain. One message read, "He thinks he's safe now. He has no idea how easy it is to make a man look guilty." A few tears and the right words. No one questions the woman. Travis froze the server. Took screenshots. Sent them to my lawyer and the police. The next morning, I walked into the precinct and filed a full report. I showed them everything, the smear post, the break-in, the threats, the fake assistant stunt, the Discord server. The officer reading the file actually whistled. "This woman's a walking red flag." I didn't smile. "She's about to become a cautionary tale," I said. 2 days later, I got a call from her. Blocked number. At first, I didn't answer. Then I did. I needed to hear her voice one last time. She didn't say hello. "You think this makes you the hero?" she said, low, bitter. "You think people are going to remember your version?" "I don't care who remembers anything," I said. "I just care that you don't get to hurt anyone else." She went quiet. Then she whispered, "You'll regret this," and hung up. I stared at the phone. Not afraid. Not angry. Just hollow. That was the last time I heard her voice. But she wasn't done. Not yet. It was 3 weeks later when the call came. My lawyer's voice was calm, but I could hear the tension underneath. "They arrested her this morning." I sat up in bed, fully awake. For what? Attempted fraud. Defamation. Trespassing. And one more charge, submitting a false domestic violence report. Apparently, she'd gone into a local precinct and filed a detailed statement claiming I'd hit her during our marriage. Said I pinned her against the wall one night after finding her texting another man. The detective assigned to the case had just gotten Travis's packet from my lawyer hours before. Haley brought a knife to a gunfight. When the officer asked her to unlock her phone, she refused. When they got a warrant, it was over. The messages she sent bragging about manipulating the system, her plan to ruin me, her voice memos laughing about crying on command, they were all there. Clear as day. She didn't even cry when they cuffed her. Jake? He disappeared the second her mugshot hit the local news. Snake slithered right back into the hole he came from. I didn't celebrate. There was no champagne. No dancing in the street. I just sat on the edge of my bed, let out a breath I'd been holding for months, and finally felt the silence for what it was. Peace. In the weeks that followed, things settled. The HR meeting at work turned into an apology. They offered me a raise. I didn't take it. I asked for something else, 2 weeks off. They gave me 3. I went to Colorado. Just me and the mountains. No phone. No email. Just air. Cold and clean. And when I came back, I finally opened that storage box. The one with our wedding album. Our old anniversary cards. Her letters. I burned them all in my backyard. One by one. Watched every lie curl into smoke and vanish into the sky. I don't hate her. Not anymore. I pity her. Because someone like Haley never stops destroying. Even when she wins, she finds new things to ruin. It's her nature. Her fuel. She'll find another man. She'll charm him, meld into him, whisper the same promises she whispered to me. And then, one day, she'll break him too. She can't help it. But me? I'm done bleeding. At our final court hearing, her lawyer laughed and said, "Enjoy your new life. You'll be leaving with nothing." And Haley smirked and said, "You should have been a better husband." The judge turned to me and asked if I had any final words. I smiled and said, Actually, yes. I'd like to submit this as evidence. When the judge read the document, her face turned pale. That wasn't just my revenge. That was my freedom. If you're reading this and you feel like something's wrong in your relationship, listen to that feeling. Don't wait for a smoking gun. Don't let love blind you to the way someone tears you apart piece by piece. Sometimes, walking away isn't weakness. It's survival. And when you do finally walk away, make sure you don't just survive. Make sure you win.